There we go. Let's take a look here after hours, but let's make sure we have some levels as well to monitor. So for AMAT, we'll have 202.69, and if we get below that, we'll take a look at 193.09, and we'll see on a lower time frame here if we can make our way back to these levels or not. So let's take a look. And we might see a lot of wick action here. So I'm personally not trading anything after hours. I never am. I'm just interested in seeing where this is going to gap up tomorrow. And then for HRB, let's seems like we're trading pretty close to all-time highs here, 58.63. So maybe we can get our way back there and make new all-time highs. We'll also put this on extended trading hours. So HRB very, very close to all-time highs, and say AMAT is quite a way away from the all-time high still. So we'll look on lower time frames to see where we're going. So I'm gonna keep these levels on my chart as well, potentially not just to come back to it today after earnings, but maybe tomorrow. I don't know when. But I do know that these levels are decent to play from. Can't hear if you're speaking. Weird. So I'm not really sure what that means. I think Nikki, you're in here now. Is now a speaker. It's also so confusing, to be honest, with this new layout. Let's see. Nikki is a speaker. Oh, there we go. I had you muted, Nikki. Were you saying anything? Hmm. Can hear you now. That's it's really weird, but that's it's all due to Discord. So with this new setup, apparently Discord doesn't like us in here. There we go. I can hear Nikki here. We can only hear Nikki. That's weird. I am here, Nikki. I am absolutely here. I hear you, but I don't know if you hear me. That's super, super weird. But mm, let's see. Hello, hello. Man, no worries. I'll reshare my screen as well. Is this better? Um, that's good. Like I said, it won't be too long here. Actually, it's already getting quite late for me. And but for the next half an hour, let's see if we can make a move on price action. Now, these two companies are really not too exciting, to be honest, for me. When Tesla or Nvidia has their earnings, that's all very exciting. But probably HRB and AMAT are basically two stocks that I've never owned them, and I probably won't trade them, to be honest. It's just because I was assigned to do the earnings stream about these two. Let's see HRB coming in with the gap up and the big green candle. So looks like we're making new all-time highs. Then maybe that 58.63 level could become a support. For example, tomorrow, if we gap up above 58.63, then that might very well become an important support level to play from. Uh, good. Now, after hours, so much can happen, so this can quickly turn around and completely nuke down. So that's exactly what we're seeing here. So it's very tricky to do anything here after hours on that. Let me actually figure out some levels below us to play from. So I'll be interested at 53.72 and at this low as well. Let's see. That's a big wick now, of course. So if if you're trading this after hours and you're pressing the buy and they fill you somewhere around $60, and then a couple seconds later, um, Let's see, bookies. You say I can't see his screen. That's so annoying. I can definitely see my own screen and see it on stage as well. Is that the case for everyone actually? So I always ask guys, please confirm if you can hear me and see my screen. So if nobody confirms, I just don't know, right? It's my first week in this weird Discord setup. I can't see screen. Now I can. I cannot. Well. Hmm. That is incredibly weird. Um, I do see my screen here. Hmm. Let's see. When you screen shared, did you set it to 15 frames per second? Pookies, I really don't know what you're talking about, man. Like I've always just been sharing my screen, no problem. I've never had to click other things, so I wouldn't even know how to set that to 15. I think it stands on 30 FPS, but I have no clue, Pookies, how to change that. So this is really not the idea. Dusty Socks, you say looks good, man. So it looks like for some people it's visible and for others it's not, to be honest. I don't know how to fix this at the moment, to be honest. So let's see. I'll just wait for some instruction in the chat because I'm definitely not a tech genius. Stages limit bandwidth to increase viewer count. It's the options when you screen share. My God, let's try this again then. Screen share. Hmm. Man, I don't see this, Spookies. Like honestly speaking, man, like this is incredibly frustrating. I'm just here to look at charts and I don't see that on my screen share. Um, hmm, hmm, hmm. Well, well, I don't know if my screen is or is not visible. I personally see it. I see it. I can see and hear on YouTube are is what people are saying. So I will have to figure this out on Discord on my own. Yeah, this is not the place to start working with, start to messing with settings. Absolutely not. It's already difficult enough. So I'll be interested to see probably tomorrow if H&R can come back to 58.63 and solidify that into a support. And then for AMAT, I'm only interested from really from lower down, to be honest, from 202.69 or from 193.09. And so we're currently trading way above that. And when I say interested, that means interested to take a long position. That's also the only thing I do on equities. I'm not interested in playing the short side. And if we don't come down, then I would say 214.5 will be a good level to look for a break and hold above. So if it doesn't go down, it would still be possible to pick it up, but it would need to at the very least get and close a 15-minute candle above 214.5, and then looking at that level to take it $10 higher. Now, that is not really a move that excites me too much, but just for giving options, that would be a 4.5% move, not too bad. Good. Let me actually check out the earnings calendar of today and see if there's anything else apart from HRB and AMAT. All right. 214.5, that seems to be the level to get above. And I said 15-minute candle close at the very least. Now, like I said, I'm not going to be trading anything here after hours, but let's see. Baba, doesn't that also have its earnings at the moment? Not really sure, to be honest, but I want to anyways put that chart on there as well. Oh, I want to have that on the right. So it seems like a nice move here for H&R so far, but it's impossible to do anything at the top of a big green candle, and especially after hours, just not interested. But for everybody, I would say 58.63 like I said, it's now an important level to come back and hold on the way down. Let's take a look at BABA as well. Let's see, earnings. They looks like they already came out with earnings. Not really 100% sure. But this is not. This was pre-market. I suppose that they had the big move. Oh, yeah, we'll just stick to AMAT and HRB. Good. Right. I will, in the meantime, also look a little bit around for my settings on Discord, but it will be for next time that 15 FPS, to be honest. And this is really the thing about earnings. There's not really that much to say. The numbers itself don't really matter to me. It's just a matter of seeing if price action can come down to one of my levels and then can act accordingly. So let's see. All right. Literally what I'm drawing on the chart here is, well, what I would need to see either from higher or from lower down that we get below one of these three levels and then basically just get back above and rip it higher. So on the way up, people like to buy, but it's really on the way down. That it's a way safer bet. Buying here leaves you immediately with tons of downsides, tons of areas to be retested if you would get in here. Well, I think 58.63. I'll just lock that level. It seems to be the most important one now. And for AMAT, I'm definitely not going to trade this myself. I don't short, but I would say if this gets back below 208.5, that would be an important level to get below, and then basically to retest for maybe a little bearish position. Some people do like to scalp these little moves. So that's what I would look at. 208.5. If that does not hold, it's likely coming to these levels lower down. So when I see, very simple, when I see something like this well above $200, I would be way more interested if it could nuke below 200 again after earnings. And that doesn't need to happen immediately, right? That could also happen one of the coming days. So 208.5, let me make that a little red line where these candlesticks closed and opened. That's going to be a must hold for the bulls. I see on YouTube someone that was asking, when do you think the price will rise? That's impossible to answer. That nobody knows. So when something will happen, no idea, but it's more important to just have your levels and your alert set so that if it happens, you can act accordingly. So that's a question that I basically get all the time. How long should I wait before the market is going to move in my direction? I mean, if we really knew the answer to that, probably wouldn't be in a Discord, right? Probably would be well, somewhere on an island, just predicting the future all the time. That's just impossible. Especially here on AMAT both moves both directions, but ultimately we're not really going anywhere. So but this candlestick on HRB, that's now a really good one, I would say. A 15-minute close above that all-time high. That seems promising for continuation, and without any prior highs. This is price discovery now, so that might go pretty far. Could definitely take us into high 60s, 70s, etc. But that, again, doesn't make it a buy here. I would be looking from lower. So say, for example, 58.63. Again, just kind of looking around. It's, again, not a limit position that I would immediately set. But for example, from 58.63 and then targeting to the mid 60s and then having a stop loss, for example, at like 56.6, approximately 56.5, that would allow for a 3-to-1 R trade, something like this. would be an idea. So I'm just going to leave it on my chart. And for example, tomorrow during regular trading hours between 10 and 11 a.m., if I see that this thing is coming to this level, I will probably take a position on that accordingly. So that's a trade idea, especially for tomorrow for during regular trading hours. Good. We'll stick around for a couple more 5-minute candlesticks, maybe three or so, and leave it at that. Also checking if I see anything else with earnings here. Looks like HRB is not even the thing with the highest market cap and earnings. So let's see, AMCR. Let's see if we can check that out real quick as well. AMCR. Amcor PLC also seems to have its earnings. Let's zoom out for a moment here. Okay. Looks like after hours were coming down a bit. That might be interesting. Then zoom out for a moment on the weekly. Where are we going back to? So that chart on the right, that is also something that is having its earnings right now. Amcor, I will just make HRB a little bit smaller, leave this kind of this trade ID on there. And then for AMAT, I'll also make it a little bit smaller. And then we can go and investigate this right here. So 1091 looks like a decent chart, to be honest, that has some potential. I've never really looked at this, but let's take it to the lower time frames here. All right, so after hours, so 1091 is a level that I had in there. That is an important level. I will place an alert on this level for AMCR at 1091 with condition crossing up. I see that my internet is also not computing all too well here after hours. But anyways, 1091. I'm quite interested to see if we can get back above that, and then basically to take an entry at 1091. But also during regular trading hours. So this is something for tomorrow as well. I would kind of plan already. So tomorrow is Friday between 10 a.m. and 10 and 11 a.m. That's going to be my kill zone, time of my kill zone tomorrow. So that's right. So in the future, that would be right here. So I want to see that this thing tomorrow between 10 and 11 is basically trading above 1091, and that I'm looking for a retest entry at that point in time at that price. So that might be something tomorrow that I will be posting in my chat, and something that I want to keep up with. And if this just falls down lower, that's fine. I'll just let it slide. But if it wants to reclaim 1091, I think there's some potential on this chart. And it is absolutely regardless of their earnings, right? So whether this earnings report here is quote positive or negative cannot be of my interest. It's just, are we going to come to that line and do what I wanted to do or not? And with losing that 208.5 here for AMAT, if we're looking to close below that, so that's likely going to lead lower down. To be honest, again, wouldn't take this and take a bearish position, but this kind of this scenario now would become possible where we will struggle at the red line. Now we'll see on the 5 minutes here if that is the case. But that's good, right? Some movement down, maybe. Some people got trapped buying this at 214. So a little 5% move down from there wouldn't be too much to ask for. I'll also try and see for Amcor if there is actually a level of support below us, which I'm very interested to play from, which I see there is 943. And if we do drop below 943, I'm interested at 898. And if we drop below all of that, I mean, we'll be looking at 812. And that is for AMCR. So 1091 Or, for example, same thing tomorrow between 10 and 11, instead of reclaiming 1091, this thing is actually making its way back down and it's getting below either 943 or 898. If it does that and then closes back above, that would also be a day trade entry according to my system from either of these two levels below us. So that already gives you guys some ideas, right? So AMCR, get and hold above 1091 for an entry there, or to come back and test either 943, 898, or 812. That's what I'll be looking at during the regular trading hours. And I'm actually quite happy that we could expand to one more ticker, because just H&R is simple. There's nothing really much to say. At some point, it probably comes down to test that previous level again. And AMAT, well, kind of just following along what we just said, right? Losing 208.5 is not immediately a great news. So to the people on YouTube who are referring to guidance for the report, that's not what I check. I never do. I'm not interested in doing what everybody else does. I'm more interested in figuring out the levels to play from. And I actually see my own stream loading here on the Discord, so I'm not really sure if that is still visible or not. Let me maybe stop streaming and then restart this in a second here. Hopefully that's better. Good. Let's stick around for five more minutes and basically call it a day. But I would definitely suggest that everybody has taken notes of all these levels on H&R and AMAT and AMCR, and I've given out quite some trade ideas. So it's just a matter of being patient and waiting for any of those scenarios to set up. That's at least what I would do. Also, just looking at my watch list for a moment, I saw that equities were having a very nice green day, and crypto is struggling a little bit. But that typically only happens before then crypto catches up. So we'll be keeping in touch with that as well. But especially equities look pretty good. All right. Yeah, I only see 4 people here left. We'll call it a day in a few minutes here. I hope this was helpful with some levels and some ideas for these three tickers. And I do apologize for the technical inconveniences that, well, I really can't do anything about, to be honest. It's always the case with moving to a new system of doing things, and then typically not a fan, to be honest. Good. AMAT fly, blah blah. Well, it's to call something flying because it's seeing a little 1 minute candle to the upside is a bit quick. And thoughts on Nasdaq? Well, my thoughts on Nasdaq is that ultimately it's a chart that moves up and to the right, so the Qs are looking very good. Maybe I'll give a couple of thoughts on the Qs and then call it a day. But strong, I will put H&R to the left and AMAT a little bit smaller as well. And then we can take a look at the Qs here on the right-hand side. I mean, just look at that chart and look at the current weekly candlestick. So once again, I do think that last week was yet again another good buying opportunity, and that in a few weeks, it's more likely than not that this is actually going to trade back at its all-time high. So my thoughts on it is that it's bullish. To keep it very, very simple, of course. Now, where to enter, etc., etc., that would lead me beyond the scope of this free stream. But there's nothing bearish about the Qs, about SPY, and also actually by extension on Bitcoin. I'm bullish. Good. That being said, I'm going to end the stream here.